Welcome back, friends, to another episode of A Journey Divine.
Journey Divine.
That's right. And this is a part 2 of a part 1 that we started last episode. But before going there to part 2, again, I want to say thanks to our sponsor for this episode once again, my friend Reza at Star Auto Sales. He'll be your friend too before it's all said and done.
Absolutely. And you know, that's also an opportunity. Some of you out there may think, you know, could we get involved at some point? Just comment down below or contact us on, you know, we'll have an email address in the description. So,
right, if you want to sponsor an episode or be part of this, please. We're looking for all the help we can get in many ways. You know, I was talking to Reza about the year of 2020. He said it was a good year for him at the car lot on Louisville Road in Bowling Green. But he said most of his customers are repeat customers.
right.
I think that's a good sign.
It is a good sign.
You know, when you get all your customers to come back again and again. So thanks, Reza.
Thank
and
you.
Please go see him if you look for a used car. But today we're going to finish Ken and Laura. Wasn't that great in part 1?
Absolutely. It was not, I always enjoy talking to them. So as I said in part 1, but yeah, part 2 of our discussion with Ken and Laura. So open minds and listen and enjoy.
That's right. Check it out. Here we go. And something, Chadwick, you and I talked about a lot this past year, just between us, is that, you know, that there's help out there beyond just what we can do ourselves. We have a lot of assistance from the spiritual world, from God, angels. Ken and Laura, you mentioned how you work with them, and there's so much help we can pull from, it seems like, that we just don't see with our own eyes. And can you give us a flavor of just how much help is out there that we're not seeing typically? The typical person just doesn't see all this assistance that's available, right? If we could just
Well,
reach
I
it.
think for a lot of individuals, especially ones that we've worked with who've given us all kinds of stories, is that people don't realize that our dearly departed loved ones are always around us. They're still willing to help us, and they let us know in different ways. You know, sometimes, well, I'm trying to think, something might happen, and all of a sudden you say, oh, I wish, you know, my mother was here to help me. And then all of a sudden you get an answer and in your head, and you think, oh, I should have thought about that before. Well, actually, that was probably more than likely inspiration from your mother, you know, and we've had it happen many times. And individuals say, all of a sudden I had this thought and I smelt roses in the air, and my mother loved roses, and they felt her presence, you know. So those are also helpers who are around us a lot. You have other examples that you want to give?
Well, one of the big ones, for example, we talked about Project Prosperity that we're working on now, and one of the things that we are share with individuals is there are certain things that they do. So now you follow the hunches that you get, and that's the secret. You know, follow the hunches that you get. Now there's certain things you're preparing. As we said earlier, you know that you're made in the image of God. You deserve the best. Now prepare for it, and that comes. All of a sudden you might feel like, well, I feel like going over here. Then just go. Don't try to make sense of it. That's the open-mindedness we're talking about. You know, that's the faith we're talking about. It's not faith as in, oh, well, the Bible said this. It's faith in the sense that you know that you're part of God and you're taken care of. So when something comes up, you just go. That's the part you don't question, because you're very sure there's a reason why that's happening, and the reason is always a very good reason. So you look forward to the results. You look forward to seeing why you're being guided to do certain things. And with them doing that, all of a sudden they experience these wonderful things. They're like, I can't believe this happened. I can't believe that happened. Because they follow the hunches.
Like we tell our children, have faith in yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes, and I think something important to be mentioned here is some people, they might think that their hunch is to go and do harm to another person, and that's not a godly hunch in any way. Anything from God or their spiritual world will always be loving and productive, a positive thing. We want to make sure everyone understands that, so someone doesn't
Very
come and
good
say,
point.
I had this hunch to go and punch my brother in the face.
Right.
There's the flesh and there's the spirit.
Yes. Remember that you follow the ones that are good. You always have a good feeling with it.
That's great. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Because, for example, if you don't like your neighbor, and all of a sudden you feel like, I'm going to go over there and tell my neighbor off. No, that was not a hunch from God. No way. God will not tell you to go tell somebody off. It just doesn't happen. So
Mhm.
Can I tell you a quick 30-second story after you mentioned hunches?
Mhm.
This happened to me just 2 days ago. I pastor a church, and I woke up at 4:11 a.m. 2 days ago with this idea, a hunch or intuition,
mhm.
to try this new idea. So then I had it. So then I woke up, had a cup of coffee, and I started talking myself out of it. Oh, that's not a good idea, or maybe that won't work.
Mhm.
But I thought, no, I'm going to go with my hunch. I'm going to go with the thought I had at 4:11 a.m. because that, to me, comes from the divine. And so often we talk ourselves out, it seems like,
Mhm.
of what God wants us to do.
That's correct. See, because in many cases it doesn't make any sense on the physical plane.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense. One of them is when we decided to move here. It was the strangest thing. We never heard of this place. And then I told my, we're going back to Chicago. We're not looking at any more places. And she said, no, this is one more place. And I'm like, I've had it with these places. I don't like
It's the
them.
last one. It's just a few minutes away. We're already here. Let's just look.
And I said, no, let's leave. Because all the ones we saw, I didn't like them. They were just, I was unhappy with them. They looked one way in the picture, in the MLS. And then when you get there, it's like, nonsense. It's like, no. My wife insisted. We got there. And then as we were driving through, I was like, oh, this looks terrible. Then all of a sudden we turned into the neighborhood. And like, oh, this looks nice. And then we got there. And then my wife loved it. I didn't because I thought it was too small. And then I remember telling her, I said, there has to be a stream. There's a stream on the property. I don't see any stream, so this is not it. Sure enough, we heard this noise and we went, and that was, actually we didn't see the stream then, it was after. It's supposed to have a pond.
Right.
Pond was there, no stream.
But we heard a stream.
Uh-huh.
And
So
I asked the
My wife
realtor.
said, my
And
wife
the
said,
realtor
"There's a noise."
said, there is a stream. It borders the property. I'm like, well, we didn't see it.
And we went down, saw the stream.
Mhm.
And then I said, okay, this is it. But the whole time I'm thinking, we're going to find a property that has a pond. It has to be at least 10 acres. And it has to have a stream.
You weren't asking for much, right?
We didn't ask, but we were told what to
No,
look
we
for.
were told
That's
this.
what we were told to
That's what we were
find.
told.
Mhm.
And there it was.
And the price
Yes.
had to be at a certain, I was like, that's impossible. We were even told the price.
Yes. Mhm.
And we're like, there's no way that can be. And sure enough, it happened. So you're right. A lot of people talk themselves out of it because we try to make sense out of it.
Mhm.
That's the physical part. And that's the faith thing, Forget about the physical. Whatever if you start to look at the physical, you start to question it, then you say, anything I see is a mirage. It's not real. Whatever I see with my eyes is not real. It's a mirage. I have mansions in heaven. I have mansions in my Father's kingdom. You keep saying that and you will stay still. You will stay calm. That's how you handle it.
Mhm.
Sounds kind of better than a Dale Carnegie book.
It doesn't it? It does. It's right.
Thanks to the Ascended Masters. See, they're the
Right.
ones that
Yeah.
guide us.
Mhm.
A term that we hear often, I've heard often, and I really didn't understand it fully, and maybe I still don't until I heard you mention it, is the term ascended masters.
Mhm.
Would you mind, just for the viewers' information, and I guess mine too, I know vaguely the concept, but ascended masters exactly, how would you define them?
Oh, okay. And ascended, so let's go back a little bit. Since we're Catholics, I'll take it from that viewpoint.
Mhm.
We're all here on earth. We come down and we're born, we live a life, and then we die. Now, according to the Catholic faith, we only live once. And if you want to believe you've lived more than once, you're a bad Catholic, by the way, because that doesn't happen. Even though in the Bible itself, I can show you in many places where it refers to a soul that has come back.
Mhm.
Okay, one of the best examples is John the Baptist, but
Right.
we won't spend time on that. That's not for this one. So the point is that an ascended master, they're called ascended masters because they have ascended to heaven, just like Jesus ascended. Remember, he said, "Now I leave and go join my Father in heaven." After he resurrected, that's the ascension. As a matter of fact, it's called the ascension.
Right.
Well, other individuals have done the same thing. See, we are led to believe that it was only Jesus that ascended. Elijah ascended in the chariot of fire. That's ascension as well. All right, so then they get up there, and then what happens? they sit around and play golf or something. No, they actually, remember in the Bible, Jesus said, and not my wife always says, this is the ghetto version, right? He said, I healed people, I brought people back from the dead, I performed all these miracles. And then he said what to his disciples, said, now you can do all that I've done and even more.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He actually said that. And then he said, now why can they do more? Because he goes to join his Father in heaven. See, that's so key, but that's not explained to us. What does that mean? Why is it they can do more? Because there's one more soul they can call on for help, and that's Jesus. See, before he went, they could do all those things. But with him going there, and he said, Jesus, all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, more firepower.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's why that statement was so powerful about him saying, because I go and join my Father in heaven. And that's why we could do even more. Well, an ascended master, they're called masters because they have mastered death. They don't have to come back. They've balanced their karma. They can stay there now and help us. So anyone that's an ascended master was a normal human being and went through balancing all their karma and then ascended to be with God in heaven. And from there, they're trying to help us to do the same thing, to ascend and join them so we can help our brothers and sisters on earth that haven't ascended like ourselves.
Right. And they want to help us.
They want to help
Yes.
us.
And
Now, in many cases, what they do is, one of the things they do, from what we understand, is they choose a name. And they choose a name that they believe was the most impactful for them in all their lifetimes. Because we know now that each soul re-embodies.
Mm-hmm.
The teaching tells us that it's re-embodiment, not reincarnation. There's a difference between the two. So we re-embody. And every time we re-embody, we're accomplishing certain goals. We're here with a divine plan. And until we accomplish that divine plan, we keep coming back. Once we accomplish what we're supposed to, then we can choose not to come back. That's when we ascend. Okay? And they choose a name, whatever, like I said, a name that they find most impactful, that people remember them most by. Jesus chose Jesus because that was his most impactful, in his mind, his most impactful embodiment.
Right.
But he was here before. We won't spend time on it. We have other embodiments of him. Abraham, he had his embodiment, and he's known as El Moria. That's the name he chose. That whole palace somewhere.
Taj Mahal.
He built that for his wife. So it's known a certain way, but it was actually Abraham as a different embodiment, that built that for his wife. So those are some of the things. Once you learn those, you start to understand, wow, this is amazing.
Right.
And once you learn about your embodiments, then like you guys know about some of your embodiments,
Right.
you start to understand why your life is a certain way. We don't want to spend time in embodiments and say, oh, I was a king at one time. That's not important. What's important is why was that shown to you now? What lesson is there to learn from that?
Mm-hmm.
In this lifetime, so you can utilize in this lifetime. How does it help you now? So the Ascended Masters guide us when you want help, you turn to them for help. The most challenging thing though is this, that because the Ascended Masters come and they're so influential, people decided to build religions around them. They never asked for it. That's why there's Christianity based on the teachings of Jesus. And there's Buddhism based on the teachings of Siddhartha.
Mm-hmm.
But they never asked for that. They're all sharing with us the teachings. And that's why we talk about the teachings. Because the teachings is the mother of all religious or spiritual lessons that we could learn. And each religion then takes a little portion of it and said, okay, this is how we live our life based on God's laws. But it's just a little bit.
Right.
The teachings covers, everything. I don't know all the teachings. It takes centuries to learn all of it. But that's what the Ascended Masters do, and that's who they are. And so they come from. That's why we don't say that. Oh, okay. Hinduism is bad or Buddhism is bad or being Muslim is bad, because none of that is actually accurate. It all comes from one source, one supreme being. But they've just chosen a certain portion of the teaching itself to focus on instead of the whole picture. But if you were to study them separately, you'd see that there's a very common thread among all of them, because they're all based on the teachings.
And oftentimes the people that we meet with say the very same thing Ken just said, and similar things that Laura has said.
And I thought about our very first episode we filmed. We talked about that exact same quote about how every faith is just one portion of the truth, right? And we can't just look at one. No one faith has a monopoly on the truth, if I can put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a true statement.
Right. One of the things that Zen Masters teach us, or keep reminding us of, is that as long as a religion or a group, denomination, whatever you want to call that group, is doing things to encourage love, caring, and positive actions within that community, it's a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's no such thing as a bad religion if it's doing the right things for its members. There are different levels of understanding of spirituality, and every group is based on a level of understanding for that group. You get attracted to a certain religion or denomination based on your level of understanding and what you need to fulfill spiritually in this lifetime. That's it. We've all been Hindus, we've all been Buddhists, we've all been Catholics, we've all been everything. We just don't realize it because we think we only live one life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like many of the people that we talk to, we could spend 4 or 5 hours.
we
and
could.
we would just be starting
Mhm.
to have these discussions. But I really enjoy listening to what you have to tell us and share with us.
Will you come back sometime in the future and join us for more conversation?
Yes.
Most definitely.
Absolutely.
Most definitely.
Good, good. Well, we appreciate your time today, Laura, and our faithful cameraman, Ken. Thank you for filming and for participating
You're welcome.
in this.
I'm grateful for the opportunity to share.
Yes,
It's always great. And we always learn from you guys anyway, so.
We're
It
grateful.
goes two ways.
We're
We
grateful.
certainly are.
And do check out 190vision.com, 190vision, 190vision YouTube channel, and 190vision Facebook. And you'll see videos posted. And thank you all again. And we look forward to seeing you soon.
Okay.
All right.
We look forward to coming.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us here at A Divine Journey.
That's right.
And we look forward to seeing you again soon. Please subscribe, share, like, comment down below if you have questions for us, questions for our friends.
Yes.
And we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Well, that was an interview. I hope you enjoyed that as much as we enjoyed
Absolutely.
listening and being part of that. Fascinating insights Ken and Laura has, and I've not really heard other people talk about the parts of the spiritual life that they're sort of in tune with, and I find it very fascinating, very enlightening.
Enlightening. And like you said in part 1, food for thought.
It is,
You know,
exactly.
if you sit down and consider some of their ideas and their experience, it's not far-fetched. Really makes sense.
In many ways it does make sense, and it's certainly logical and thought out, and so we hope that you enjoyed hearing a different perspective on the spiritual side on this Journey Divine. And we look forward to coming back again with, we have another interview or two up our sleeves. don't
Yes,
we?
it's exciting. I can't wait to meet some new friends, new people. And check out Ken and Laura's channel. We will link that here, and they mentioned it in the videos too. So.
And also, I'll say it this time,
Uh-huh.
subscribe, click the bell, comment below, all those things.
Uh-huh.
And thank you so much for watching this episode.
We'll see you soon.
See you next time.